And myself, so let's call this meeting to order. Okay. Pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023, on March 29th, 2023, Governor Maura Healey signed into law an act making appropriations for the fiscal year 2023 to provide for supplementing certain existing appropriations and for certain other activities and projects. This act includes an extension until March 31st, 2025 of the remote meeting provisions. The September 9th, 2024 Select Board meeting will be conducted via remote participation by the board. As the chair, I'm happy to grant permission to Westwood Media Center to record the meeting to anyone else who wishes to record the meeting. Everybody hear me okay? Good to go. Okay. First thing on my agenda is the Hazardous Waste Day, September 14th. Household Hazardous Waste Day will be held on Saturday, September 14th, up at 50 Carvey Street from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The folks do an excellent job on that. The cost is $10 per car, cash or check, subject to change. Oversized vehicles or vans may be assessed additional fees. What are they accepting? Things such as oil-based paints, thinners, turpentine, strippers, varnishes, aerosol cans, cleaning supplies, pool supplies. There's a whole list on the town's webpage. So if you have some of those items, this is a great time to take advantage of it. I've gone the last few years. I'm finally making a dent in the basement. So that's a wonderful service that the town provides for its residents. Next, I have Westwood Day, September 21st. We had Saturday, September 21st, rain or shine. The activities will kick off on Friday the 20th at Flahay Field on the Westwood High School football game and the fireworks to follow the game. Saturday morning at 9 a.m. we've got the 5K run. At 10 a.m. we have a fun run. At 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. we have Vendor Village food court entertainment in the back. We have some new things this year. Rich always does a great job on this. We have the mini golf on the softball field. I think Todd and his team is doing that. We've got bracelet making on the gymnasium entrance lawn. DPW will be demoing electric charging EV lawnmowers on the baseball field. And stop by the Fire Station 1 project booth to hear more about the fire station project. They are still looking for volunteers. You just can't get enough volunteers, especially for an event of this size. To act as parking monitors, greeters, activity monitors, cleanup crew, and more. Volunteers can sign up in 2.5 to 3.5 hour shifts. All volunteers will receive a really cool 2024 event t-shirt. Please sign up westwoodday.org and click on volunteers. We look forward to seeing everyone at the football game and fireworks on the 20th. And lastly, every year we commemorate the 911 anniversary on that day. I think this is the 23rd year. We ask that you join us for the solemn occasion at the Westwood Fire Station on High Street. We'll be holding the ceremony September 11th at 8:45 a.m. You can come early and chat with the folks there at the High Street Station. We're going to honor the 343 firefighters and paramedics who perished, 23 New York Police Department police officers, and the Port Authority police officers, 37 of those who lost their lives and never saw their families again, along with close to 3,000 civilians who lost their lives that day from the attack. So that's Wednesday the 11th at 8:45 a.m. at the High Street Fire Station. And next, Chris, I'm going to turn it over to you for your update, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I have two things to report out. One, I want to publicly thank Senator Rush and Representative Mercury for their efforts to provide Westwood with two budget earmarks in the FY25 Commonwealth budget. One is in the amount of $200,000 for emergency generators, and the second is $100,000 to support the planning and development of design of a new Westwood fire station. It's also important to understand that the $200,000 was communication that took place shortly after the May 24 annual town meeting, when Senator Rush's office called, and thanks to Stephanie McManus for her forward thinking and her quick thinking, was able to submit the information needed for the emergency generator. So Stephanie, thank you very much for that. The funding for the generators will be greatly needed and will be put to good use, as well as the $100,000 for the planning and development of the new of a Westwood fire station. Secondly, I want to share with the town and the board, on Friday, September 6th, we received notification from the Attorney General's office. All of our bylaws that were approved at the spring annual town meeting have been approved by the AG's office. I know, Pat, if there's anything else you want to say on that.
They need to be posted now. And once we get through the posting period, we're good to go. So this is a major hurdle we've gotten through.
Thank you very much, Pat. Mr. Chair, those are my two updates. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris, and kudos to Nora and his team on that, getting those through. Public safety reports are next. Chief Silva, I have got you down first, if you'd be so kind.
Sure, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, we have a few updates, actually. No particular order. I'll start with retirements. We have a few retirements, some recently, some within the past couple of months, but I'm not sure in terms of our last public safety update if I was able to report those out. So out of an abundance of caution, not to omit any of our retirees, I'll mention them. We had Officer Sean Pillay, who was retired due to an injury he received on the job. So Officer Pillay was our canine officer, and he was injured taking a subject into custody. And although he's doing okay generally, he sustained an injury that was significant enough that he could no longer perform the necessary and essential functions. So Officer Pillay is retired. We wish him well. Detective Danielle Claremont resigned under honorable conditions, as his family choices. He had a young daughter, and she's just taking some time with her family. So she stayed on with us as a reserve officer, but she resigned. Sergeant Paul Sicard, I think we reported that out, but he retired, as did Officer Eladio Sanchez within the past short time. It's hard to believe. So we wish them well as well. But most recently, we had our traffic safety officer, Steve Conley, retire. And Steve, very well known throughout town, grew up in town, was doing our traffic safety functions for the last several years. Did some great work for us here over the years with accident reconstruction and accident template design. He's got an engineering background, so he went into our computer software program and drew out and completely reconfigured some of the different intersections for the reporting procedures that the officers have to do when they respond to accidents, and so many other things. So we wish Steve well. There's a growing team of grandchildren there that he's very proud to take care of. So Steve was the most recent retiree. And then taking over for Steve as the primary traffic safety officer is Officer Frank Baker. And Officer Baker is also an accident reconstructionist. He was a backup traffic officer, essentially, what we call an impact officer, doing traffic and some other impacts in town. So Frank moved over to primary traffic safety officer, and Officer Mike Parr took over for Officer Baker as the impact officer. We've also had some new hires with these waves of retirements. So we have 4 new officers that we welcome to the department: Alexander Stewart, Michael Dempsey, and Matthew, who are on field training right now, and Matthew Scheidel and Robert Sulpricio, who start with us tomorrow, actually. So hot off the press there for them. Very excited in a time where public safety applicants and police applicants are down nationwide significantly, that we're able to continue to attract very qualified candidates coming from diverse backgrounds and cultures, both individually, educationally, their training, their experience, work history, certifications. Robert Sulprizio is an instructor level officer and trainer in a number of areas. So we just have been so blessed in that regard to really have members like that join the team and value added each time. So I tell everyone that we hire that with everybody we bring in, it makes our public safety team that much better, because they see the town and they see the department in a way that we don't, right? We become somewhat institutionalized, if you will, and we're looking through it through a traditional lens as much as we try to be forward thinking. So they're bringing all that experience with them. Very happy to have them. So we welcome them to the team. And through some movement and retirement and so forth, Sergeant Don Murphy went from a patrol sergeant to our accreditation manager. As the board and the community may recall, we received initial and then full accreditation within the last couple of years. That had been a longstanding goal for us, and we were on track to do that, and then COVID hit. So that was previously done by Sergeant Mike Delala, who has now been promoted. We'll talk about him next. So Sergeant Murphy took over as our accreditation manager, and in the weeks and months to come, he'll take over as our training and field training coordinator. Lieutenant Delala held on to both those duties in the short term until we could get Sergeant Murphy onboarded. We didn't want to deluge him with all those responsibilities at once, but he'll be taking those responsibilities off the lieutenant's plate. And Mike Delala, who went from our accreditation manager to our lieutenant. As the board knows, Lieutenant Joe Vinci, who was with us a long time, was appointed the chief of police in Dover. And so when Lieutenant Vinci left, Lieutenant Delala got promoted. And in terms of updates for us, that's all that we have. We do have some promotional assessments for sergeant and lieutenant coming because like hiring comes in waves, retirements come in waves too. So we're anticipating some potential retirements in the future, but I never announce those until they happen, just in case anybody changes their mind. But as part of the routine process, we have promotional assessment for sergeant and lieutenant coming up. And with that, that's the police update, unless anyone has any questions.
Rob, Marianne, any questions?
No, Chief, just want to say thank you to all those long-serving who have retired and are on to next phase of life, and congratulations to all of the new officers joining the force, and welcome to Westwood, and congratulations to those who are receiving promotions with all the movement. So thank you.
Thank you.
I echo all of that. Thank you so much, Chief.
My pleasure.
Same here. And Jeff, I like the way you and Steve groomed Frank for the new position. I attended several meetings that he was also there speaking on behalf of the department. I think he's going to be a great asset to the department. I like the way you guys groomed him for that position. And kudos on the new hires. As you said, this is a difficult time, so it speaks to you and the department that the officers would like to come on board. So thank you so much. And Jeff, thanks for your report. Appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And Steve, Fire Chief Steve Lund is up next. Steve, what would you like to say?
We'll go along the same route there. We are still trying to hire two, and we have one in the process of being hired. He's going to finish his name's Scott Tambasio. He's going to finish his ride time for his medic with us, and then he will come on full time. Hopefully we'll have everything done sometime in October and he can start on full time. Still trying to fill the other two positions. We got a lot of applicants who had just their EMT or were just beginning paramedic school, and that would be 2 years of waiting for them to finish that. So we're gonna try and repost and see if we can attract anybody else. As far as stats, I know you want me to run some stats for you, Joe. So far this year, we've done 2,651 calls. In August, we did 342. 178 of them were medicals. We had one house fire on Westview Terrace, 60 false alarms, and 60 times we had calls that were overlapping. I did a little study on that. 44 times we had 2 calls at the same time. 12 times we had 3 calls at the same time, and twice we had 4 calls at the same time. So we're continuing to be very busy and stretched to the limit.
I know those simultaneous calls are increasing and a challenge, especially on the ambulance side of things, Steve. So thanks for sharing that. And those are a lot of calls.
Yeah, that was just 1 month, so
Yeah,
it's happening a lot.
that's pretty impressive. Mary Ann or Rob, do you folks have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chief, and thanks to the whole department.
Welcome.
Chief, just one question. I trying to make sure that I'm following what was annual numbers versus month numbers. You said in the month of August alone, you had that number of overlapping calls, or is that aggregate for the year?
Oh, let me check that. Oh, but I misspeak. That's for the year. I misspoke. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep, no worries.
Thank you for that.
Still a lot of overlapping calls.
Yes,
so-
it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, Steve, yeah,
The
go
only
ahead.
other thing that I have is, still waiting to hear on the SAFER grant. I reached out to someone I know. In Middleborough Fire just got it, and they said that they didn't hear anything until the phone rang and they said, you've been awarded it. So, still hopeful. They've done about 2/3 of the money that they have for awards. So we're still in the run.
Terrific. I know you've been working with Molly on this and Colin as well, and if there's anything this board can do to help with the process, please don't hesitate to reach out, but not only for the SAFER grant, but for the hiring as well, Steve. It's as Jeff said, these are tough times for public safety positions.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Yep, appreciate it. All right, next we have our public hearing for St. Mark of Ephesus Orthodox Cathedral, 340 Clapboardtree Street. It's for a one-day special beer and wine license at St. Mark's Greek Fest 2024. And I'd like to have a motion to open this hearing, please.
Joe, it's not a public hearing. It's just an application for a one-day special permit. So
Okay.
you don't need to open it.
Great. Thank you, Tish.
Welcome.
I think we have Father George and Nora here. Is that correct?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, since we don't have to do our little vote on this, Nora, would you like to take it, please?
Sure. So it's time again for Greek Fest. And it's scheduled for this coming weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, the hours are from 11 to 8 and Sunday from 12 noon to 7 p.m. They're looking for a one-day beer and wine license as they've requested in every previous year. The event will have Greek food, live music, dance performances, a vendor village, and it'll have a beer and wine on-premise consumption area, so a designated bar area. There will be a 40 by 140 foot tent, so pretty much the same as they've had in past years. That the tent will cover all the food service and the alcohol sales, dining and seating areas. There are 4 tips trained servers, and parking will be handled at Westwood High School and at the First Parish of Westwood, right across the street. And there will also be a police detail in place to assist with people getting across the street. The Alcohol Review Committee reviewed this application and voted unanimously to recommend the Select Board's approval. The request would be for the setup and cleanup time to be included. So the request is to have a license that's issued from Friday, September 13th at noon through Monday, September 16th at 2 p.m.
Great. Mary Ann, do you have any questions or
I
comments?
do not. I do not. Looking forward to it.
Rob?
No, I'm excited that they've got another wonderful weekend of weather on tap. Last year it was marvelous and look forward to being there again this year.
Thank you, Rob. And this food is outstanding. Chris and I go every year. We have a great time, and I don't know if I enjoy the food more than seeing the kids horsing around and everything, and some of the dancing and stuff. It's a great weekend event. We're looking forward to it. All right. Do we have a motion for this?
Yes. I'm pleased to move that the Select Board grant approval to St. Mark's for a one-day special beer and wine license to serve alcohol on Saturday, September 14, 2024, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday, September 15th, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. with the setup time to the time to set up and remove alcohol from the premises from 12 p.m. on Friday, September 13th through Monday, September 16, 2024 at 2 p.m., pending public safety inspections and food permit issuance. Also, we move to allow for the electronic signatures of the Select Board to be affixed on the license.
I will second that motion.
Any discussion on the motion?
No.
Rob?
None?
Okay. I'll call for a vote. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Father, have a great weekend and looking forward to seeing you there.
So do we. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nora, you're on deck again. This is for a one-day special beer and wine license at Steam Kettle Music Festival at Hale.
Yes, it is. And I think Jacqueline Ross from Hale may be joining. I don't know if she's in the waiting area, but I'll get started explaining the event. So this is another repeat event, the Steam Kettle Music Festival. It's scheduled for Saturday, September 28th. It runs from 11:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the afternoon. This is a private event to be held at Cat Rock Field, and it only serves ticket holders. So people have to buy tickets for the event. Hale is expecting 300 guests, more or less. They have contracted with Black Hat Brew Works, who will be the licensed wholesale brewery that will provide beer sales at the event. They're bringing 3 TIPS certified servers that will also be set up, much like the Greek Fest, in a designated bar area. They're having 2 food trucks, Fanny's Food Fun Truck and Gonzalez Taco Truck. Both of the food trucks are applying for temporary food permits, and those permits are pending. This year, they're not going to use a tent at Hale for this event, so they're trying something a little bit different this year. The Alcohol Review Committee reviewed this. Again, they recommend unanimously that the board approve it with a condition that the road be kept clear for fire and emergency vehicles. The setup and cleanup would all be handled on the same day, September 28th. So they're requesting that they actually have the license begin at 10 a.m. and go through 7:30 p.m.
Excellent. Thank you, Nora. Mary, any comments or thoughts?
No, thank you.
Rob?
Oop, sorry about that. No, I'm good.
Okay. This has gone well in the past. I expect it to go well in the future. So anybody want to make a motion?
I'd be glad to. I hereby move that the Select Board approve a one-day special beer and wine license for the Steam Kettle Music Festival on September 28th from 10 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. to Jacqueline Ross on behalf of Hale Education, Inc. The time noted allows for setup and removal of alcohol. The license approval is pending food permit issuance and public safety inspections. In addition, Carby Street and any other roads located near the venue must be kept clear for fire and emergency vehicle access. The motion is also to allow for the electronic signatures of the board to be affixed to the license.
And I second that motion.
Roll call vote. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. And Miss Nora, you're up again for a one-day special beer and wine license, Craig Wedding at Hale Reservation.
Okay, this is the last one for tonight. This is the Craig wedding reception. I think we have Joanna Craig, who's the bride, and Rachel Baloney, who is the wedding planner, that are both joining us. The event is scheduled for Saturday, September 21st, so 2 weeks from from last Saturday. So it's a little less than 2 weeks away. They're looking for a one-day special beer and wine license for the wedding reception. The reception is scheduled for 5:30 to 10:30 p.m. and they're expecting 90 guests. The caterer is SYB Event Planning. They have a TIPS certified bartending company that will be doing the alcohol service. The police do not require a detail in this event. They are using 2 tents and have already obtained permits for both of them. There's a 40 by 60 tent and a 20 by 30 tent. And the Alcohol Review Committee reviewed this as well, recommends unanimous approval with that same condition that the roadway be kept clear for emergency vehicles. Oh, and the timing for cleanup, setup and cleanup would be that they would request the alcohol permit to begin at 4 p.m. and go through 11 p.m. on the 21st.
Excellent. Thank you, Nora. Mary, any questions?
Just want to wish Joanna and Jamie best wishes. It's great to see you both here. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thanks.
Rob?
I'll just echo that and hope that you get the type of weather that we're going to have this weekend for your special day.
We're all thinking good thoughts and wishing you the very best. I mean, what great smiles. We're so excited for you. Okay, motion.
I am happy to move that the select board grant the one-day special beer and wine license to Joanna Craig for a wedding reception on September 21, 2024 at Cat Rock Field and Pavilion, located at Hale Reservation from 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., time including setup and cleanup. The approval is pending final sign-offs by public safety departments and the condition that Carby Street and any other roads located near the venue must be kept clear for fire and emergency vehicle access, and further to allow for the electronic signatures of the select board to be affixed on the license.
And I will second that motion.
Roll call vote. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Best wishes to you both.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Next, we have a local action unit application regulatory agreement for 22 Everett Street. We have attending Amanda Wolf and Giorgio Petruzziolo. Is Miss Amanda here? Yes, I see it. Okay. Amanda, take it away, please.
All right. So tonight we're asking the select board to endorse the local action unit application for the 22 Everett Street project. This is a development with 160 total housing units. It has a few different firsts that the town is excited to have. It'll be the first affordable housing development with 3-bedroom units. It will also be the first project approved under our Mumford district, which is our MBTA community zoning. And it'll also be the first project with units restricted to 60% of the area median income in perpetuity. Of the 160 units, 24 will be affordable. It'll be split between 2 buildings. There'll be 12 1-bedroom, 8 2-bedroom, and 1 3-bedroom units that are 80% of the area median income, and then 1 of each size for 60% AMI. Other than that, it'll be mixed use, so it'll have some commercial development in front, and then the rest will be market rate units.
Okay. Mary Ann, any questions or comments?
Well, I want to thank everyone for all the work that's been done. Could you just speak, Amanda, just really briefly to what process has taken place thus far to get to this point? You could summarize that for us.
Yes, so it started with the passing of when we established our Mumford district in 2022, right, Nora? She's nodding yes. And then because this project exceeded the by right density of 15 units per acre,
Sounds like we're having a little bit of a.
Yeah, I think I can step in, Amanda, if you're we're losing you. So I can just explain. So as Amanda was saying, because this required or the request was for more than the minimum number of units, a special permit was necessary. So the planning board
just went through a special permit with the planning board. Great in that process, and that he didn't
I don't know what that is.
That's
You wanna try again,
everything
Amanda?
catching up.
You
Okay.
guys are doing a tag team just fine. So, Amanda, you think you're back in the loop there with your connection?
I think so. Is
Oh.
it good now?
Yes.
You sound
Okay,
great.
great,
No one
sorry.
knows just when to pick up, so go for it.
Okay. So yeah, it exceeded the minimum density requirement that was allowed by right. So it went through a special permit process instead. How our zoning bylaw is written is that we require 15% of the units if the project has 8 or more units to be affordable, restricted to 80% of the area median income. Giorgio agreed to have 3 of those units be 6% AMI. That was something he did. It wasn't forced in it wasn't mandated in our bylaw in any way. So it was a strong collaboration effort between the planning board, the planning division, and Giorgio's team to make sure it was a project that benefited the community in more ways than one. And then ever since then, we've been working on developing this application and making sure it's ready so that it can be added to our subsidized housing inventory.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Rob, do you have any questions or comments?
I did have one. I understand, Amanda, that this has, as part of it, the development is having a full-time transportation demand manager.
Yes, so given that it's on Everett Street, there obviously were traffic concerns because it's already a congested area in town, even with what's there now. And then a big piece of the MBTA communities law is transit-oriented development. So not only building housing near transit station like this one, this is near both bus stops on the 34E line and Islington Station, which is the Franklin-Foxborough commuter rail line, are all well within a half mile of the site. So it's very transit friendly for the people that live there. And then to improve upon that even further, Giorgio has agreed to have a full-time transportation demand manager that will help residents and employees of those businesses look at alternative options other than driving their personal cars there. And then also he will be joining the Neponset Valley Transportation Management Association to work out a shuttle service that can serve the employees and the residents.
Okay, that there's a full-time job there.
Yes, yes, there is.
Okay.
Anything else, Rob or Mary Ann?
No.
Tish, any questions from the public there?
No, I don't see any questions.
And Amanda or Giorgio, is the playground still in the loop on this project in the back?
Yes, it is.
Great. Fantastic. That's great. All right. Anyone like to make a motion?
I would. I move that the select board authorize its chair to sign the 22 Everett Street Local Action Units application for submission to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, EOHLC, and the regulatory agreement once the application is approved by EOHLC.
I second that motion.
Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Nora. Giorgio,
Thank you.
thanks so much. Nice
Thank
job.
you. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank
You
you.
Nora, it looks like you're back on the hook.
Yes, another application. So this one is a request from New England Development. Paul Sincata was going to try and join if he could. I got him the link a little bit late, so I'm not sure if he's able to get on or not. But I
don't see him yet, but I'll look out for him.
Okay. So just to explain, so the University Station project was approved by voters in May of 2013, and it is still continuing in construction. We've got 2 of the last lots that are in the development stage, development approval stage. But both of those have been sold by New England Development to other entities. One is the Home 2 Hotel, and the other is a property that's been purchased by Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for a potential proton therapy facility. So at this point, New England Development, all of the development work they intended to do is complete. Back in 2013, the development agreement had a rather complicated reimbursement procedure that was associated with this project, where the town would hire peer review consultants, and then we would receive their invoices, pay the bills, then send the bills to New England Development for reimbursement. And it was a very complicated procedure that had a certain amount of funds that were held in place that was equal to twice the prior month's cost, and it was rather cumbersome. By the time the majority of construction work was done and the majority of approval work was done, we worked with New England Development to have a much simpler reimbursement agreement. So in December of 2019, there was an agreement signed that simply had New England Development put $40,000 on hold with the town as a deposit to cover any reimbursements, a kind of a float, so that we could pay our peer review consultants and then submit the bills to New England Development without ever being out of pocket. So over from 2019 through 2024, we went through the process. We continued along that way. 2023, I'm sorry. In summer of 2023, New England Development recognized that they no longer had any proposals pending and didn't expect to have proposals in the upcoming 6 months. So they requested a return of their deposit. In order to return the deposit, we had to do a full close out of the account. And so I worked with Marie O'Leary, our town accountant, and we determined that there were a couple of reimbursements that hadn't actually been received yet. So we worked on that throughout the beginning of this year. And in July, we received the final payment from New England Development for the final outstanding reimbursement. So we're now requesting that the town does give back the $40,000 deposit that we've had on hold since December 2019. We have all of the funds that we have paid out have all been reimbursed, and we have the funds in the account to give back.
Excellent. Nora, how many years did you have to go back on this discovery process?
We had to go back to 2019 just to make sure we knew all the prior ones prior to the establishment of this this reimbursement agreement that was from December of 2019. So we went back to that date. We knew everything before that. We had tied it out before we signed that agreement, and then we had to go back and make sure everything was tied out. There were just a couple of smaller amounts that were somehow lost over the years that the request got to New England Development, must have bounced around there a little bit before it came back to us. So we're all set now. The account is in the black, and New England Development would like the return of its funds. There's a section of the December 2019 letter of agreement. It's section 6 that guides that. And so if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, strong work, and please thank Marie. She's a hardworking person, so that's
Yes, she is.
Rob or Marion, do you folks have any questions?
No questions from me.
I do not. Thanks, Nora.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I would. I move that the select board authorize the finance director to approve a payment in the amount of $40,000 to University Station Phase 2 LLC in satisfaction of Part 6 of the December 4, 2019 University Station Development Peer Review Reimbursement Agreement.
I second that motion.
All right. Roll call. Marianne?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Nora. Please thank Marie on that as well. All right, next we have our MBTA Advisory Board report. Steve Olenoff is going to give us a short presentation and update. And Steve, before you do that, could you just give the folks at home a quick snapshot on all this work you do for the town behind the scenes?
Oh, you mean everything I do? That'll take up all the time.
Okay.
But I'm also
pick the top 3, Steve. Pick the top 3.
And the MAPC. I'm the representative to the MAPC and formerly the Regional Transportation Advisory Council. And, I'm still active in some of these other things like the Three Rivers Interlocal Council, all parts of and I'm also on the MPO as the alternate for the Trick subregion. So those are a few of the things. But
Steve, I'm the new guy on the select board. Please, could you just tell us what the NPO and the MPAC is?
yeah, so the MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, and they distribute all the federal funds for transportation under the Federal Transportation Act.
And the area planning?
And the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, that's very important. That's your regional planning council.
Okay, that's our MAPC.
MAPC.
Okay, Steve, take it away.
Yeah. So the MBTA advisory board is independent from the MBTA. So it is 176 cities and towns, and it's a means of input from those 176 cities and towns to the MBTA. So we advise the MBTA formally, and I'm the designee to the board. The way it works is the chair of the select board is automatically the actual representative, but the town can appoint the designee. And so I've been appointed the last 30 years or so. And the idea is to really advise the T. And formally, the T actually had to approve the budget. The advisory board had to approve the budget of the T. That's no longer the case, but we still review it and give advice on it, but it's nothing. We can't really reject it anymore at this time. So several things I wanted to talk about. The Route 128 station garage and the railroad station, that's been things we've had problems with in the past. The garage itself is run by the T, maintained by the T. The station is maintained by Amtrak, but the T participates in the funding of it. So in the past, we have real problems with the escalators and the elevators in the station, and that's all been cleared up. For some number of years, we didn't have any escalators, or for a while, either escalators or elevators. Happy to report, I just checked it today. Everything is working. It's been working for a while. Things have gotten much better at the station itself. And recently, one of the escalators went down, and they had to get a part, but it was fixed in a few weeks. So that's really huge improvement over the several years that it took in the past. The garage, the problems maintaining on the garage. So they just had finished a big maintenance project, like $15 million. A big part of that was putting in a new emergency staircase from the garage. But everything's been fixed up there. And so that's in good shape right now. What I've been trying to do over the years is try to get the T to commit to annual budgets for all of the T garages, rather than just letting them go with very little maintenance and then have to do a multi-million-dollar project to fix them up. It'd be better if they just did a little bit every year. Still trying to get them to do that. But hopefully things will get better. So that's the T garage. And anyone has any questions as I go along, just feel free to ask anything. The other thing is the Route 34E bus service. The T recently went through this, what they call the Better Bus project, where they wanted to totally reorganize the way the buses are. And the emphasis was on main routes, getting lots of very frequent service on main routes and getting rid of some of the lesser used routes. So the 34E is one of those more or less main routes, not one of the really, really main routes, but we should see when this goes into effect, and it's going to take a long time to do that. But if anything, service should increase on the 34E. They've been trying to get it to stop at Legacy Place for quite a while now, and Legacy Place just hasn't granted permission to the T for their buses to enter there. So that unfortunately hasn't happened. People in Dedham are working on trying to make that happen. Next is the commuter rail, and the commuter rail, we call it commuter rail, we're trying to get it changed into what is a regional rail system, and getting the away from commuter rail, which is commuter rail is a lot of traffic going in to Boston in the morning, coming out at the evening, and lesser service in between. The whole idea of regional rail is make it going in all directions at all times, day and night and weekends, a regular service. And that started to happen with COVID. What happened was they found the demand was down in rush hour, so they started making the schedule more even during the day. And recently, the good news is they've restored the late evening service. Used to be that the last train out of Boston would be at 11 o'clock. Now it's back to about 12. So 5 minutes of 12, the last train leaves Boston heading towards Westwood. And that's that way now, not only on weekdays, but also on weekends. So people can just want to let everyone know if you want to go to the theater, ball game, or anything else, you can take the train into Boston and you won't have to rush to get the last train back again. So now the service is pretty much even throughout the day. We've already achieved a lot of this. So like every hour on the Providence line, there's a train, and that continues through right through the day and the evening. There used to be a big break in the middle of the day, a couple of hours when there's no train service. Now it's even throughout the day and evening. And the weekend is still 2 hours, but again, they have that late night service. And the amazing thing is the railroad, the number of people using the trains has picked up to almost what it was pre-COVID. The rest of the system, that's not true. In fact, the MBTA commuter rail now is probably one of the best in the nation as far as recovering on ridership from COVID. And yeah, it's really amazing. I've been in on a weekend, and it used to be like one train, one car, barely full. Now it's 3 or 4 cars packed with people. So that's the good news on that. And so that's all working towards that regional rail. We have regular service. You just go down, and you know the clock. They're trying to do a clock face kind of thing where to get on a certain any given station, say you go at 10 minutes past the hour, and you know the train will be at 10 minutes past the hour. You don't even have to look for the schedule. So that's what they're working towards, that kind of thing, and getting trains every hour, and then every half an hour, or even every 20 minutes in some of the bigger lines. So they're making progress. So that's happening. Part of that is railroad electrification. That will help them quite a bit because electric trains accelerate faster, and that'll enable trains to run more often. Now, you may have heard in the news lately that they are going to start electrification. They're starting it on the Fairmont line, and hopefully you think, okay, they should start it on the Providence line because they already have catenary wires all set up. They just have to get more power in to do that. But they're concentrating right on the environmental justice communities, which is the Fairmont line, which is located entirely within Boston.
Steve, before you go too much further, we're getting near the end of the window here. Can you just hit on the high point about the fiscal part of it then? And please be brief, because as you and I discussed this morning, the fiscal part has been in the paper, so I think people are aware of that. And
So the two things that have been in the paper, at least recently, is that railroad electrification, which it's becoming to Westwood sooner than it looked like it before. But I just want to clarify one thing that wasn't done well in the papers, which was it's going to be battery electric. And a lot of people mistook that to think it's just a battery, but it's both catenary and electric. So they don't have to completely put in overhead wires in the entire length of the line. the train will go from where there are wires and run the power that way, and then when they no longer, it just switch right to battery. And that means everything will get done much faster because it would take years to put those overhead wires up everywhere. And,
Steve, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. But Pete,
okay, so the last thing was the fiscal cliff. You want to, and that's been in the news a lot. And
yeah, we're good.
Apparently, a lot of people have heard about it. So I just wanted to emphasize. In fact, I can put information in the chat box, hopefully.
Okay.
And
Steve, I have just one environmental question for you.
yeah,
Snow melting machine is that operational at the top of the garage?
no, you know, the funny thing is they never used it, and they had a snow melting machine in the garage, and soon after when the garage opened, they decided they didn't have the funds to maintain it and operate it, so they've never used it. And if that's an important issue the town is interested in, we can try to bring that up.
Steve, thank you so much. That was a great report. I appreciate it.
I just wanted to
Mr. Chair,
mention.
just real quick.
Yeah.
What you put into the chat, I'm going to copy and paste that into the Q&A because the public doesn't have access to the chat. We typically don't.
Thank you. Yes.
It doesn't look like I can copy and paste that. So if you would put that in the Q&A as opposed to the chat, I didn't even think the chat. There's a Q&A button on your screen.
Okay. I thought I put it in the Q&A. Okay, let me. Okay.
Thanks for catching that.
I'm not.
All right, let's move. We can just we can
Yeah,
we can
I'll
add it
send it
somewhere
in.
else in the minutes.
Yeah, there is a committee right now that's looking at ways for funding for the T to make up the $700 million deficit. And when they come back and report and come out with them things, hopefully then there needs to be a big effort to try to get the legislature to enact some of those things. And that's why I was bringing that up and bringing this to you today.
Steve, thank you so much.
Okay.
Charter Review Committee next. Steve, thank you very much. Great report. Who's here from the Charter Review, Tish?
We have a few, so I'll start to bring them all in.
Okay.
I see Dottie, John Loughnane, Nancy Hyde, Paul Fitzgerald, and Peter Cahill, and Jessica Cole.
Great. Paul, will you be leading this presentation?
Yes, and I will be joined by others in the Charter Commission. But if I could, at the outset, Mr. Chairperson, I'd just like to reconvene the meeting of the Charter Committee, which was duly noted to be here with the Select Board at this date and time.
So noted.
Paul, I'm just bringing Nancy in right now.
Thank you.
And I believe Nancy Hyde will also be joining us.
She's coming.
Would you like me to begin, Mr. Chairperson?
Please.
As over the course of the summer since town meeting, the Charter Review Committee has continued to meet, and what we were doing during this part of our deliberations was trying to review all of the proposals that we had made and try to come up with a final draft to present to the Select Board. At this point in time, we are recommending that we do one article that would encompass the various technical and the substantive and the housekeeping changes that we had been recommending prior to this. It is our recommendation that we do this as one article rather than several, as we did at the last town meeting. We are not at this time recommending that the town clerk's position be included as part of that proposal. While we think that the idea of moving to an appointed town clerk to ensure the security and efficiency of our elections and of that office has great merit and merits active consideration, ongoing consideration. We do not think that there's the urgency at this time to include it as part of our charter revisions, proposed charter revisions. It's a little different situation than we had when we 2 years ago came to the select board regarding the town treasurer and the town collector. At that time, both of the incumbents in those positions who had vast experience and had demonstrated a great deal of competence and a lot of public trust, those positions were becoming vacant, and we felt that it was important at that time to move to having the appointed positions to ensure the integrity of those offices and to protect the town's fiscal position. We do not have that same situation with the town clerk. We're very fortunate that we have town clerk who is going to be remaining with us for the foreseeable future, who constantly demonstrates her efficiency and her ability to conduct that office, particularly conduct our elections in a manner that deserves our praise and ensures the integrity of our elections. So we don't feel that that is urgent at this time. We do, however, recommend, Mr. Chairperson, that the board keep this in its focus and what I would call active consideration, because there is going to come a time when we are going to be in the same situation we were with the treasurer and collector, when we'll have to, determine whether that would be the time to move to an appointed position. But we don't have the same sense of urgency as we felt before, and we believe the town clerk's office in very good hands for the foreseeable future.
I agree.
So we have presented an executive summary that highlights is in a simple language the changes that we're proposing. We've also presented, thanks to the work of Member Cahill, a table that references each section of the charter and includes a précis of the changes that we're recommending relative to that particular section. We've also provided a black line copy that shows all of the changes in the actual text of the charter, and then a clean copy that would just be a readable copy of what we would propose that the Westwood charter look like should the revisions be adopted.
Right. Peter, that table is very helpful for me. I can tell you that when you bounce around some of the mass laws, this was very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Yep.
And so at this point, we are looking for sort of a guidance from the select board. What we would propose to do if the select board feels it merits, we would prepare a draft article. We would then begin continue to have public hearings to meet with the public and any of the members of the boards and commissions to talk through the changes and begin our outreach to the Finance and Warrant Commission so that we can assure that when they begin their deliberations of the article, they have all of the information that they need to give it due consideration. And that's I think the plan that we set out to do over the summer, Mr. Chairperson.
Paul, I think that's a great plan. Is there
And
anything,
if any of
else?
my colleagues on the committee would want to add anything, welcome their participation.
John, anything from your end?
No, I just want to commend Paul and Peter and the other members of the committee for the couple of years of work put into this. And we've tried to just bring this forth as simply as possible. So you've got the black line, you've got the summary, you've got the executive, you've got the black line, you've got the clean version, you've got the executive summary, and you have the table. And we'd like to, as Paul said, draft the article and start to ensure that folks understand what the changes are that we're proposing.
Great. Dottie or anybody else have any questions or comments?
Chairman Privateer, I echo John's and Paul's opinions. The committee has been together for 2 years and have worked really hard and have put a lot of thought into the changes that we've proposed. So we would like your go ahead to continue with this and move forward.
I think it's a huge step. Mary Ann, any questions or comments?
Just a quick comment, which is to again commend all of you for the very significant work you've done on this over the past 2 years and apparently over the summer as well. I don't think you could be any more transparent about what it is that you are recommending in terms of what you've put forth with the red lines, the clean version, the table. Thank you, very helpful. And I think it's an excellent plan that you've laid out in terms of public process to bring this to residents, for public discussion, as well as FinCom. So thank you and kudos to all of you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Rob?
Well, I will echo that and just say thank you, because I know you've all not only done this work this time around, several of you have done this in the past as well, and the town is very grateful to the time, energy, and talent that you bring to the process.
Yeah. Thank you. And Paul did a great job with the overview. So again, what we are looking for is just sort of the sense from the select board to continue and be able to make sure everything is publicly available post, and then continue our outreach throughout these next couple of months, as well as the warrant.
Okay. Go ahead, Mary Ann.
Just wanted to say thank you again.
Oh, okay. I agree. I'm of the opinion that we should support them going forward with this endeavor, and I think they've done some yeoman's work, and as you said, Marion, making things a little easier to understand, a little more transparent. I think they'll be greatly appreciated by the FinCom folks and by the public. Rob, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I think the addition of the table, as you noted earlier, Mr. Chair, is a very helpful synopsis on the entire thing. And I know at one point, Chair of the FinCom, Mr. Bruce, was talking about getting some of those committees working a little bit earlier. I don't know, did they create one to deal with the charter review articles? Or article in this case.
Well, what my intent would be, Mr. Gotti, is if the select board wants us to go forward and draft the article, that we would begin outreach to FinCom and see what process we could follow to get them the information that they need, and begin a discussion with them sooner rather than later.
I think that's a wise move. I'm supportive.
I think we're all supportive, Paul, and I would strongly recommend that you go for sooner than later. And people say a picture speaks 1,000 words, but Peter, that table really helped me out sweating through this stuff. So nice work to you all. So Paul, please go forward and with your endeavor, and congratulations on the job well done.
Thank you, and I want to thank all of my colleagues on the committee. Everybody's brought something to the table, and it's been a real pleasure to work with these people who care so much about the town of Westwood.
Thank you very much.
If I may, I'd just like to adjourn the Charter Commission meeting at this time, Mr. Chairperson.
Sure.
I'll take a motion to adjourn the Charter Committee.
So moved.
Moved by Member Lockney, seconded by Member Cahill. Member Cahill?
Aye. Adjourn.
Member Lockney?
Aye.
Member Hyde?
Aye.
Member Powers?
Aye.
And I also vote in affirmative. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson and members of the board, and we will keep you as informed as much as possible as we move forward with this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hard work.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Fire Station 1 project update. Molly, I think you're gonna lead this, is that correct?
I would love to. So the working group presented to two bodies this past week. On the 4th, they presented to the Finance and Warrant Commission, and then on the 5th was the first meeting with direct abutters of the project. And so we listened to and acknowledged the impact that this project is going to have on both the abutters and on the taxpayers, and we'll be bringing back all of that feedback to the next working group meeting. In addition to those meetings, we've been working with the PR firm that we brought on board, Ellis Strategies, working on information that will be posted at Westwood Day, working on an informational video and stuff of that nature. Important dates to keep in mind would be next Monday, September 16th, is the first public information session for the project, where we invite residents to come and hear about how we got here and what we're planning on doing. And then we will continue to move into the design and permitting aspects of the project. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Well, I will lead off with the fact that I was present for the 2 meetings this past week, last week, and Molly did an outstanding job running those 2 meetings. Nice work. Rob?
Sure. I debriefed with Chris after those meetings, and I know one of the questions that was sort of a recurring theme was relative to the temporary fire station and why we don't use the Deerfield School, given that it is currently vacant or primarily vacant. There are some things being done there currently, but for everyone's understanding, the select board, the municipal side of the house, does not control Deerfield. That is under the care, custody, and control of the school committee. So that is why that is not an option for us at this time.
I'd just like to piggyback on that, Rob, to say even if it were available, it is not a preferred site for FS1. It does not have access to High Street. All parking on Deerfield would have to be eliminated. The turn off of Deerfield onto Gay is a treacherous one. So when the feasibility study was conducted last fall and all properties were assessed, the Deerfield did not rise to the top for a variety of reasons, including the fact that it is under the care, custody, and control of the school committee.
Thanks, Molly. I know it's a reasonable question for this to see a relatively vacant building going underutilized. So just wanted to be clear as to why it wasn't an option.
Rob, did I misunderstand you? Were you referring to the temporary quarters there or a permanent station there? I think Molly picked it up as a permanent station, but I thought you were referring to a temporary.
I don't know. Maybe I'm misspeaking in terms of the interpretation I took from the debrief after the meeting, but I know there were questions about why wasn't this considered. So I'm just.
So, Mr. Chair, I can certainly try to clear some of that up if you'd like.
Sure.
So the conversation I did have with Rob was about both, because there was comments made during the abutters meeting, both on the temporary. Now, as a temporary, just as everyone knows, the proposal currently is to use the land, the parking lot at the American Legion, which is only going to be on a temporary basis. There were comments made at the abutters meeting to suggest to use Deerfield as a permanent new FS1. And I think that's what Molly was referring to regarding the feasibility study, the response time, and the lack of access to High Street. On a temporary basis, there are some things that are being shifted around, but this will all be discussed at the first public forum on September 16th.
All right, Mary Ann, do you have any thoughts or questions or comments?
I just want to thank you, Molly, and I'm grateful for all of the continued work and particularly the public outreach that's being done. Thank you.
All right. Any questions in the queue there, Tish?
No questions at the fire station. Steve Olmanoff posted some information on the webinar and from the MBTA fiscal cliff. So I have that information if anyone wants it.
Terrific. All right, thank you, Molly. Let's move on to old business. I think, Chris, you're going to handle this. Is that correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So this is a continuation of the discussion that we began with the board at your meeting last month. This is regarding the fall annual town meeting. At your meeting last month, we shared with the board at that time, we do not have anything to recommend to the board a matter, town business, to recommend to the board to warrant a fall annual town meeting. That doesn't mean that the board cannot call for a special town meeting if something were to take place that's time sensitive thereafter. Pursuant to the town charter, the board needs to make a decision by September 15th. So at this time, we're recommending to the board not to have a fall annual town meeting.
Thank you, Chris. Do we need to vote on that, Pat?
Yes.
All right, Rob and Mary, any discussion on that before someone makes a motion?
I do not. I think it's straightforward at this point.
I agree.
Yep, okay. Mary Ann, would like to make a motion?
I would. I move that the select board vote to cancel the 2024 fall town meeting and to order that notice of its decision concerning such meeting be posted per Chapter 2, Section 6-1, the business session of the town meeting of the town charter.
Second that motion.
Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. And Molly, looks like we're up to the 2025 annual town meeting on moving the date. Molly, you're doing this part, is that correct?
I can make it very brief. So this was what I had presented at the August 19th meeting, the 3 different options of leaving annual town meeting where it was, having a special annual town meeting in June, or moving the date of annual town meeting from May 5th to May 19th. The recommendation of the FS1 working group and the variety of stakeholders we consulted with, the finance department, the clerk's department, town council, FinCom chair and vice chair, is also to move with that option, moving town meeting. So I'm happy to answer any questions that may have come up during this time, but our request is that the board vote to move annual town meeting from May 5th to May 19th.
All right, Rob, Mary Ann, any questions, comments?
Go ahead, Mary Ann, if you like.
Thanks, Rob. I just wanted to reiterate what we discussed at our last meeting, which is, and as you said, Molly, I think it's really important that the Finance and Warrant Commission is on board with this change because they are so impacted by the schedule for town meeting running up to town meeting. So the fact that they are on board with this is very important to our process, and I think this is the right thing to do.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I think it gives, the voters as well, greater transparency, more assurity as to what the numbers are going to be, and so I think this is the right thing to do for any number of reasons.
Agreed.
Mr. Chair,
Chris.
Just want to point out what Molly reported out last month, that conversations also were had with the town moderator, as well as with the school superintendent regarding the space, because we do know that there are some other activities going on at the schools later in May. So everything has been communicated, and it's a full team support for this recommendation.
And to say it's threading a needle is an understatement. I think, Molly, you put a lot of effort into all those options and gave people time to review and consider, and I think the FinCom folks appreciate it. So I think you did a great job on that. Thank you very much. I think Nancy has her hand up on this. Is that correct, Tish? Nope. Okay.
Let's write it down.
No, the eyes aren't what they used to be. Okay, any Mary Ann, Rob, sounds like you guys are all set. Anything from the public, Tish?
No comments.
That's just outstanding. Mary Ann, would you like to make a motion?
I would, thank you. I hereby move that the select board move the 2025 annual town meeting from May 5th, 2025 to May 19th, 2025 per Mass General Law, Chapter 39, Section 9.
I second that motion.
Roll call, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Rob,
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Thank you, Molly. Job well done. Chris,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Chris, thank you for your observations on that as well. Appointments, reappointments, boards and committees. Ongoing process, and it looks like we have two appointments this evening. One is for the audit and one is for the Recreation Commission. Let's start with the audit committee's candidate, Stephanie.
Yes, thank you. So the audit committee is tasked with reviewing the town's annual financial statements. It's a 3-member committee. We currently have an opening. Susan Flanagan Cahill, who is a great asset for many years, served on the committee, has decided not to renew her term. She's currently serving on the Finance and Warrant Commission. They're really lucky to have her. So with that, we're looking to fill that opening. Peter Lentz is the name I would like to request the board to appoint tonight. He is a Westwood resident. He has served already the town. He was part of the Finance and Warrant Commission for a number of years, was actually, I believe, the chair for a year, during which time he was actually on the OPEB subcommittee. So he already has some experience reviewing the town's financials and working with us on that end of things. His resume is attached in your packet. Financial consultant, has a long background in financial analysis, accounting. So is uniquely qualified to serve on this committee. We're happy to have him and very happy that he is willing to serve in this capacity. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. It would be for a 3-year term ending June 30th of 2027.
Thank you, Stephanie. I know Peter's done some outstanding work for the town. Mary Ann or Rob, do you folks have any questions or comments in regards to this candidate?
I just want to say kudos to you, Stephanie. I had the great privilege and pleasure of serving on FinCom with Peter Lentz, and he is an outstanding person and will do an outstanding job on the audit committee. So I'm thrilled.
I agree. Thank you.
Could not agree more, and enthusiastic to see Peter returning to helping serve the town.
We're very, very fortunate. I concur. Why don't we discuss the Rec Commission appointment? Chris, are you going to do this or is Rich here?
I don't believe Rich is here, but I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
For the Recreation Commission, there's currently 2 openings. We have posted those openings on the town's website. We've advertised them in the Westwood Wire since May. We have not received any interest in those 2 vacancies. However, we do have a member former member of the Recreation Commission. His term expired in June of 24. Mitchell Katzman, who would like to be reappointed to serve 1 more year. And there is a process in which the board could do this. So, and typically what happens is you're supposed to step off for a year unless there's no other resident interested in serving. That's the case here. The Recreation Commission did meet at their August 19th meeting, and they are recommending Mr. Katzman to serve another year on the Recreation Commission.
Terrific.
With that, we recommend that to the board for your consideration.
Happy he's willing to step up to the plate. Any questions or comments from the public, Tish?
There are no questions on appointments.
Okay, would anyone like to make a motion?
I would, and I just want to note that I'm equally thrilled to hear that Mitch Katzman is willing to serve again on the Rec Commission. I know he has great passion for youth recreation and a great passion for public service. So I'm thrilled to make the following motion that we appoint Peter Lentz as a member of the Audit Committee for a 3-year term to end on June 30, 2027, and B, reappoint Mitchell Katzman as a member of the Recreation Commission for a 3-year term to end on June 30, 2027.
I second that motion, both parts.
I'm sorry. Chris, did I misunderstand you? I thought you said he wanted to do one more year. He's doing 3 years. He's doing a full 3-year
Yeah,
term.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I was just gonna make a comment. I misspoke. It's for another term
Excellent.
instead of a year. I apologize.
Got him locked in. Okay. Roll call. Mary Ann.
Aye.
Rob.
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Unanimous vote. Thank you to Peter and to Mitch for stepping up to the plate. Next, we have, I think, committee reports. I think first with the off-leash dog park working group. As I said, 2 meetings ago, we did have a meeting. I thought it went very well. It was a meet and greet, and people were very forthcoming and got some great people on the group. Our next meeting for the public is on September 26th at the Westwood Public Library, 6 p.m. Is that correct, Tish?
That's correct.
6 p.m. Other than that, I don't have any other updates. Mary Ann or Rob, do you folks have anything else you'd like to say?
I do not.
Just I'll touch base on sort of all three. Obviously, the school building committee, things continue to move along beautifully down at Pine Hill. The sod is being laid as anybody driving by would note. So those fields will be in great shape. Long Range Financial Planning Committee, I know Laura has some polls out there to try and arrange for some future meeting dates. And we look forward to when we get the facility study back. And then the last thing, while I did not attend the most recent Westwood Environmental Action Committee, I just want to remind, as budget steering will be beginning, and see if we can't find a way to sort of carve out just a small amount each year for the WEAC to be able to do the work that they do. So those are my reports.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Mary Ann. Next, we're moving on to, I guess, any other business, Mary Ann or Rob, that you guys or Chris or Molly, you folks can think of, or is anything, any questions from the public at this point?
I just believe we have some minutes to approve.
We do. I'm sorry, you're right. I skipped ahead. Okay, the August 19th regular meeting minutes. Rob, any questions or comments on that?
No questions or comments from me.
Mary Ann?
None.
Meticulous as always. Great job, Tish. I'll entertain a motion to accept the August 19th meeting, regular meeting minutes.
Hereby move that we approve the regular meeting minutes for August 19, 2024 as written.
Second.
Roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. All right, Rob, now can I do the public press and other business?
Have at it.
Okay. Tish, anything in the queue there for us?
No questions at this time. No additional questions.
Okay. Our next meeting will be September 30th at 6 p.m. via web. And with that, I want to thank you all for your smart, snappy suggestions, and Molly and Pat and Chris and Tish, thank you all so much for helping guide me through this meeting. So I'll happy to entertain a motion, Miss Mary Ann.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Boy, that was a long wait. All in favor? I'm sorry. Mary Ann, roll call. Mary Ann?
Aye.
Rob?
Aye.
I vote aye as well. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.